Have you ever really thought about what happens when you get hurt? I mean, really thought about it? Today, we're going to dive into the body's incredible blueprint for repair. We'll follow the story of one single, sudden injury to see how our bodies break down. And more importantly, how they have this amazing ability to rebuild, sometimes into something totally new.
Our story starts somewhere we've all been, a middle school PE class. Totally normal day. And then, in just a split second, a heavy weight drops. And that crack, that wasn't just a sound. It was the sound of a system, a human foot, breaking down. A sudden, shocking event with immediate and very serious consequences.
So that one moment, it just brings us to this huge question. When your body takes a hit like this, what is actually happening under the skin? I mean, how does this incredibly complex machine of bone and muscle and tissue even begin to put itself back together? Well, let's find out. To really get how the body fixes itself, we first need to understand the full scope of the damage. So let's zoom in on those first few moments right after the accident.
The impact was, well, it was total. Just think about that for a second. All the things you do without even thinking, standing up, walking to the kitchen, running around with your friends, suddenly impossible. That foot, this amazing piece of biological engineering, had completely lost its function.
So what exactly broke here? To figure that out, we're going to put on our detective hats and start following the evidence, right from the source. And our first piece of evidence? It's the official record, the emergency room report. This gives us a raw, expert look at the damage, moment by moment. It's basically the blueprint of the breakdown. Okay, now this is where you see the whole picture. This was not just a simple broken bone. The doctor's notes show a multi-system failure. Two of the metatarsal bones, those are the long bones that give your foot its arch, were completely fractured. The muscle around them was crushed. The skin, our protective barrier, was torn open. And get this, there was a physical gap where all these layers were literally pulled apart. This wasn't one injury, it was 3 different systems all failing at the same time. But here's the amazing part. The body doesn't just sit there, broken. The instant that injury happened, a whole new process kicked in, repair. And this is not an overnight fix. It's a carefully coordinated journey that happens on a very specific timeline. One of the wildest things about healing is that it's not one single race to the finish line. It's more like several races, all happening at once at different speeds. Your skin, the outer layer, it's a sprinter. It's designed to fix itself fast, in just a matter of weeks. But bone, your deep structural framework, that's a marathon runner. It's way more complex, and it takes months to fully rebuild and get its strength back.
Look at this road to recovery. 2 weeks in, the skin is already closed up, stitches are out. By a month and a half, the pins holding the bones and the cast are gone. At 3 months, you can wear a normal shoe again, no more crutches. And then finally at the 4-month mark, an x-ray gives the all clear, the fracture isn't even visible anymore. The foot is officially declared healed. It took 4 months to rebuild what was broken in a single second.
But what does that word healed, what does it really mean? The timeline says we're done, but in a way, our investigation is just getting started. Let's dig a little deeper here.
If you go look up healing in a dictionary, you'll get something like this. It's about becoming sound or healthy again. It kind of suggests you're just returning to how you were before. Back to normal. Simple, right?
But here's where it gets really interesting, especially after a serious injury like this one. What happens when the body's repair job doesn't create a perfect copy of the original? What if healed actually means you're functioning in a new, adapted way?
And we see this new definition of healed all around us. Think about it. A runner with a prosthetic leg isn't just repaired. They're adapting and running marathons. An athlete in a wheelchair is playing competitive basketball with new tools. Healing, then, isn't always about going back to the past. It's about adapting and moving into the future.
So maybe we need a more thoughtful definition. Healing is the body's incredible process of putting itself back together, for sure. But sometimes that process gets a little help from the wonders of medicine or technology, creating a new way of being that is still whole, capable, and healthy. And that leaves us with one last big idea to chew on. We started this whole journey looking at one student's broken foot and the body's amazing blueprint for repair. But we ended up with a much bigger story about adaptation. So, if the body itself is a master of rebuilding, of finding new ways to be whole after something breaks, what does that teach us about our own capacity for resilience?